All right, this week we are talking about the differences between the 221 through 351 Windsor and the 351 Cleveland. I might even get off into the esoterica of the 351 Modified and the 400. Probably not, because I don't know. I mean, they are good engines, and now there's ways to make those things really run very well. But it's just honestly not something I've been all that interested in before now. So, you know, it's my show. I'm going to do what I want. After the break.
Restoration of a classic Ford is a journey of discovery. Let Autocrafters help you with yours. We offer quality parts for Falcon, Fairlane, F-Series, Galaxy, Maverick, and Pinto. Contact us today.
All right, so one of the biggest ways to tell the difference between a 351 Cleveland and any of the Windsor engines is basically this. So on the Windsors, any of the Windsor-based blocks, the water neck is on the intake manifold. If you have a 351 Cleveland, the water neck is actually on a boss on the front of the block like I'm showing you right now. So that's your first indicator right there that you have a Windsor or a 351 Cleveland. There are also other engines that mimic this though. The FEs actually have the water neck on the intake manifold as well, but the way to tell them from the Windsor family is the intake manifold has a break point in the cylinder head. I'm showing you that right now as well. So the cylinder head is part of the intake. Brilliant planning by Ford Motor Company. All right, now the 429 is kind of its own bear because it has a it has a mix of everything. The cylinder heads look a lot like a 351 Cleveland or a 428, although they are a full-on cylinder head. The block looks like a Windsor block because it doesn't have the boss on it for the water inlet, but the water inlet on top of the intake manifold looks like the water inlet on a 351 Cleveland. So there's a lot going on with that one, but it is its own thing. When you see the water inlet with the actual inlet mounted facing up on the intake manifold, you'll notice a 429. Also, the cylinder heads don't look like a Cleveland or a FE. If you look at the photo I'm showing right now, this is basically what they look like. Now, this is a set of trick flows, but it's all the same thing. All right, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about cylinder heads and the difference in the 351 Cleveland head and the 351 Windsor head. I'm not going to pull the heads off of this thing. Even though the intake is loose, the heads are still bolted down, so I'm not going to remove them. But the most immediate thing that you can see on the difference between a 351 Cleveland and a 221 through 351 Windsor is the fact that the port runners on the cylinder head on a Cleveland poke out off of the cylinder head like you're seeing here, and on the Windsor they're not. They actually are down on the head itself. There is no exposed port like there is on the Cleveland and conveniently on the FE. But you can remember that I said before that the water neck on the FE is on the intake manifold, so if you're looking at something and it has the exposed runners and it has the water neck on the intake manifold, you'll know that that's an FE series engine. Past that, there's a bunch of esoterica within the 351 Cleveland cylinder heads. If you guys want to see a video on that, leave a comment in the section below. I'm usually pretty good about going into crazy things like that. But that's basically the runner setup that you can look at and use to find out what you've got going on as far as whether it's a Cleveland or a 351 Windsor. The other little tidbit that you can do if it's in a car and you want to know whether you've got a 2-barrel Cleveland or a 4-barrel Cleveland, ha-ha! There's a way you can even find that out. The 2-barrel Cleveland has a 2 usually up in the upper corner of the end of the cylinder head, like this one here. Now this is a 4V Cleveland head. The sad thing is you can't tell what kind of 4V Cleveland head it is unless you take the cylinder head off and flip it over, because Ford did not put the part number inside the lifter valley. They put the part number on the bottom side of the cylinder head on an intake port. Yet more Ford fun for people trying to buy parts or buy a car that has a 351 Cleveland in it, and it may be a 4V or it may not. All right, so what I'm going to talk a little bit about now is nomenclature. Before I sign out on this thing, I'm going to let you know a couple of stupid things. You may or may not realize this, but Ford called these things by what they were. It was a 302, it was a 221, it was a 351, and they didn't make any descriptions in any of their literature about what it was or where it came from. But over time, it got to be known as a 351 Windsor or a 302 Windsor or a 289, 221, 260, you get the idea, and a 351 Cleveland. Now the modified and the 400, oddly enough, were not called Cleveland. So I don't know if they were not built at the Cleveland plant. I'm not real sure on those because, like I said, I've not done a lot of study on those engines. They were used in some of the Galaxies and things like that, not necessarily the modified, but in 72, you could get a 351 modified in a Gran Torino. I do know that because I had one in one. The 400 was available in the earlier cars on some of the Galaxies and things like that in 1971 or 2, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But where does it come from? This is not Cotton Eye Joe, by the way. Where does the nomenclature come from? The nomenclature comes from the fact that the 221 through 351 Windsors were built in, guess what? Windsor, Ontario, Canada. That's where it all came from for that. And guess what? The 351 Cleveland came from where? Cleveland, Ohio. Boom. There you go. So you now know why your 351 Windsor is named a 351 Windsor, because it originated out of the Windsor plant in Windsor, Ontario. And if you have a 351 Cleveland, you know it came from the Cleveland plant in Ohio. Riveting stuff, I know. All right, so that's it. That's all of our esoterica on these engines. If you guys want to see more stuff on this, where I talk about the differences with the 351 Cleveland 4-barrel heads, I talk about the differences with 351 Windsor heads in 69 and 70. I think I actually have a pair of those laying around, as opposed to the small block 302, 289, 260, and 221 heads. We can do that as well. Let me know in the comments below. Would love to hear from you. I like hearing from you guys in the comments. I've been a little lax in the last couple of months because we just had so much going on with the build out around here at the studios. Do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. I'm changing the order up here. Subscribe to the channel. We're looking to go to 100,000 subscribers. We're on a push to get that done. I'm not even sure how we're going to make that happen, but we're at like 87,000, maybe 88,000 subscribers at this point. I want to get that plaque so we can paste it on the Paul wall back behind me here. That's something we're looking to do. And it also helps you because you get your notifications, even though they're no longer emailing them to you. There's a way you can see them on YouTube, and Andrew and I this week are going to be putting a video together that goes up one day this next week that talks about how to find your notifications to know what you've got going on. Now the big thing, Patreon. At the $10 a month level, you get monthly meetings with me on Zoom. And you get to talk with me. It's not just me pontificating. We go back and forth. I do tech Q&A. You get insights on what we're planning on doing. You can even help us steer the ship, so to speak. The folks you see going up next to me on either side, and I'm never sure where we're going to put it, those guys are the ones that put their money where their mouth is, and they are now supporting the channel financially to help pay Andrew. Because, you know, bread and water sucks. He's all the way up to ramen now, so we're doing pretty good. We're moving right along. But this will help us grow the channel in other ways as well. And it gives you a chance for us to sit down and you to really get to know me on top of what you get to see here. Plus, we do tech videos for you as well. On the monthly, starting now. I'm making that promise. We were a little lax at the end of 2021, but we're going to be going through this year and really doing them once a month. Maybe more often than that. Finally, and all folks, do me a favor, be kind to each other, love on each other, treat each other nice. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you on down the road. So, we're kind of on the way to possibly having a video with Logan. I'll ask you guys this now. If you want to see us do the frame rail on the 65 Rancher, I can't even believe I'm saying this. If you want to see the video on the frame rail install on the 65 Rancher, leave a comment in the section below on this one so I can know that. I know you guys that are ready steadies are going to probably want to see it. Rob Calick and a couple of the other ones who are supporters as well as viewers on the regular. But let us know. We will do the video on that. As much as I hate to say I will do it, I will put a video up on how we do that. Anyway, that's really it. That's all I got. Bye.